We had my good friend, Dr. Josh Dines, kind of as an idea to come on this show because we thought it would be really interesting to find out all that we don't know about the stupid decisions we make with our bodies and how we get hurt. And then this week in Madrid, it became, I guess, more relevant than normal because we have young players going down. Alcaraz, arm injury, Sinner hip, Medvedev hip. It seems like there's just this, John and I were talking about it last segment, but I do want to welcome in Josh Dines to get his take on it. His bio is like a laundry list of, he is operates out of special surgery in New York, medical director of Major League Pickleball, but it gets better. Don't worry, that's not like the main thing. So we don't want to lose credibility here on this tennis podcast. Team doctor for the U.S. Davis Cup team. When I played, his father was my first team doctor, and then Josh was after him. New York Mets baseball team, New York Rangers hockey team, L.A. Dodgers. Has offered more than, geez, I didn't realize you were this good.
I'm pretty good.
More than 300 original research papers, blah, blah, blah. Has authored 7 textbooks on scientific advisory board of several orthopedic implant companies. And most importantly, co-founded and serves as chief medical officer of ViewFi. One of my best friends, Josh Dines. How you doing, man?
Thanks so much. Great to be here, and really appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'll walk you through my first week with the Dines family. You ready? So I get called up as a 17-year-old practice partner in Los Angeles. Walk into the LA Forum, and the team at that point was Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, Captain John McEnroe. I think it was Johnson Palmer that time. Maybe O'Brien Palmer, some combo. Todd Martin was the other hitting partner, and he was like 7 in the world at the time. And then I was 17 and, but anyway, so it was like a weird Davis Cup experience because Pete and Andre didn't really practice with each other. No one was staying at the team hotel. So basically I had the top floor of like the Four Seasons in Santa Monica to myself with like a team chef, but like our captain, John McEnroe, didn't stay at the same hotel. So it was a little bit fractured, but I go through that. And because Todd's coming back from an ankle injury, he can't play sets. Johnny Mac wants to hit for 2 hours at the end of every day because he thinks he's going to play doubles. So anyways, I put in a big load that week, right? Like I'm talking 10 hours a day. And anyway, and by the end of the week, I have a torn meniscus in my knee. And our team doctor is Josh's father, David Dines, who is a legendary man. Took care of me, put me in great hands with Dr. David Alchek, got my knee taken care of, never be a problem again. Josh and I became fast friends when we met. Fast forward, he takes over for his father, was at Josh's wedding. He was at our wedding. We have become great friends forever and a day since. So that is our backstory. Now I want to know what's changing in tennis currently? What are you seeing? Why are all these young players getting hurt? Are we just paying more attention to it, or is there something that's changed?
I mean, I think it's a combination. You could probably speak to the tennis part better than I because you have a much better understanding of the game. What I would say, and I'm seeing it whether it's tennis, baseball, kind of the buzzword now just with these young athletes is overuse. I mean, you talk about your 1 week as a hitting partner there for 10 hours a day. I'm seeing this, the 8th doubles player at Jericho High School, they're out there where they've got the team and then their private coach and then somebody else. It's just starting at such a young age. Everybody is so focused on scholarships or turning professional and they see it as kind of, the coaches on the other hand see it as a money grab. So I think it's multifactorial, but I think to boil it down, it's just kind of overuse at, to be fair, a much higher level. I mean, I watch tennis as a casual fan. Everything now is a 20, 30 shot rally where there's no quick points, there's no easy points. So I think it's probably all of the above.
Now you talk about overuse. Like what ages are you talking about? And are these like acute injuries that happen, or are these kind of usage injuries that just happen earlier?
Well, I think it's both. Look, the acute injuries are going to happen. You're playing sports, you're playing high level sports. You're going to tear your meniscus. Stuff's going to happen. What we're seeing that's concerning, particularly at the younger age, are these more chronic injuries that you wouldn't see until, now you're seeing them in 14 and 15-year-olds, whereas you previously wouldn't see them until they're in their 20s or, 30s because they're just playing for that many more hours all year. when I grew up, I'm old now, but like you play multiple sports, even the really good athletes, you know, who are going to go professional in something, whether it's a Mike Trout or, you know, Roger Federer, they played other sports. It wasn't just tennis or just baseball. Now nobody's getting drafted by multiple professional sports because everybody plays just one. So because of that, you know, it's 12 months of the year playing tennis or throwing baseballs. And now we're seeing these chronic injuries that, again, you saw in 25, 30-year-olds, in 15-year-olds. And that's when it becomes a problem.
Is this parents gone crazy? Is this coaches gone crazy? Is this parents not knowing and trusting the coaches gone crazy? Like, or is it all of the above?
I think your question's a great one. I think it's all the above. I think the parents have gone, and it's this vicious cycle where the parents have gone crazy because they think, look, everybody wants the best for their kid, and they think they want to give them the best chance. So they multiple lessons and multiple teams and multiple coaches. And then the other end of it, you know, my daughter was 10, she plays soccer. Like they run it like a Chelsea football club. It's crazy the amount of practices. They send game film. I'm like, look, I love watching her, but to be fair, it's tough enough to watch one game. I mean, I'm not going to review the game film with her. And it's, you know, they take it more seriously. I played my freshman year at Dartmouth, mediocre soccer, and they take it more seriously as 10-year-olds than we do now. So I think it's the coaches, it's the parents. You know, there's so much money in it. And I see it from a parent perspective now where I mentioned my daughter again, but she was a good soccer player. And then she started to play tennis and do other things. And then she came back, she watched the Women's World Cup. She's like, oh, I want to play soccer again. I was like, great. She goes out there and people that she used to be better than were better than she is. And because they've been playing all the time, it's frustrating for her. So you kind of, you know, so she wants to play more. So you kind of see, I think it's all the above. If you're competitive and you're an athlete, you see people getting better than you. There's probably some personal drive that wants you to get out there more. Then it's the parents, then it's the coaches. So I don't know how the clock gets reset. You know, it's sort of out there, and I don't know how you turn it back and just make sure that everybody plays multiple sports. I think, you know, the horse is out of the barn, unfortunately.
And are the usage rates kind of outgaining technological advances in sports? Because listen, you don't see tennis players walking around with 6-inch scars down the middle of their knee anymore. Like I was back from a knee injury in, you know, I had a surgery done when I was 17 and I could hit again in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So it seems like there are technological advances to make the recovery time shorter. Are people just ignoring, you know, we used to be out for 6 months. Now I'm back in 4 weeks. So I'm just going to be a psychopath about recovery.
Yeah, you know, probably that's part of it. Look, and not everybody needs surgery. So now they're doing, you know, injections, PRP, biologics. You've kind of heard of those things. So that, you know, theoretically get people back more quickly, but, you know, and they rush back and then beat it up again. So, we're probably also getting more sophisticated in making the diagnosis. I mean, you know, obviously it was a while ago, but like over the last probably 20 years, hip injuries are much more common now, but hip arthroscopy didn't even exist then, you know, 20 years ago. And now we're so much more sophisticated diagnosis wise and also treatment wise. And it's probably a double-edged sword, you know, where you're diagnosing them because it's less invasive. You know, maybe people are getting a little more aggressive about, you know, fixing things a little more quickly before they become these sort of train wrecks.
Is there like a proactive bias if you get, let's say, past 40 years old? My hips are, I'm assuming, I'm going to get your advice on who to go to at some point for a hip operation. But like, are people just being proactive about like, it's going to hurt in 10 years, so therefore I'll just take care of it now?
Well, I think depending on kind of the athlete we're talking about. If it's the weekend warrior, maybe they're getting a little more aggressive. You know, the 40, 50-year-old who says, you know what, I'd rather have something done now than wait 15 years till I can't even really sort of enjoy it. So they'll do things a little sooner. I don't think that we're seeing that at the younger age, though. You know, there was a scary time, not to take the folks away from tennis, but for baseball, where parents were coming in asking for elective Tommy John surgery for their kids because they heard they could throw harder. So
that's what I was telling you about, Mike.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, legitimately, that's like assault and battery on your kid.
No, but like, well, okay, so but like for people that haven't heard this before, talk through ages, parents, what they say, and give us like kind of like a normal situation and like a nightmare situation.
I think so. Look, there's unfortunately the normal situation now. I mentioned Tommy John surgery. That's baseball players, you know, your sports fans have heard about that, where they tear the ligament on the inside of their elbow. And, you know, you throw really hard. You're a professional baseball player. 25% of them have had Tommy John surgery, pitchers in the major leagues now. So it's common. What's scary is you're seeing at the younger ages, the 14 and 15-year-olds, getting back to that overuse discussion we were having earlier, and pitching coaches and all those things. But what's really disturbing is, you know, you get reports of people who make the majors afterwards. Jacob deGrom, Tommy John surgery, and has a great career, one of the best pitchers, and throwing harder. So parents for a while were hearing this and saying, wait a second, maybe I'll just do this electively. If you can get my kid throwing 3 or 4 miles per hour faster, now they can get a scholarship to play baseball at some college you've never heard of, Division 7, so they could brag to their friends that their kid plays college baseball. And it was literally for a while, it would be once every 2 weeks where a parent would come in and ask for that. I think we got enough sort of out there, almost public service announcements telling parents that they're crazy. You don't want to do this for multitude reasons. And now I'm not hearing that, which is great. But it just speaks to how crazy kind of the parents can get in this competitive environment where they again, I think they're coming from the right place. They want the best for their kid, but it really can go down the wrong path.
See, I always thought that tennis had cornered the market on psychotic parents. Like, I thought we were like the leader in the clubhouse. Like I talked about it a couple weeks ago on the pod. Like I literally saw with my own eyeballs, a father who had basically couldn't get within, 200 yards of a tennis facility because he had, beaten his kids and they lose a 10 and under match, up in a tree with binoculars, like 200 yards away, watching the match. And I always kind of felt like in an individual sport, it kind of maybe exaggerated crazy. Or do parents view even team sports like in a silo where it's like an individual inside of this operation? Now I thought we were the craziest. Are we not the craziest?
Wait, it's interesting because I think you were the far and away the clubhouse leaders, but people are catching up for the reason you just talked about. Because I think you're actually right. Look, when I grew up and played baseball, like you have one coach and that was it. Now, as I mentioned, like, everybody has pitching coaches. It's almost become an individual sport. They have hitting coaches. I mean, these 14 and 15-year-olds have hitting coaches and a separate pitching coach and fielding coaches in addition to their team. So I think even these team sports have become individual, efforts and kind of journeys as well. So the soccer coach, they all play soccer, but then they've got like some of the kids on Poppy's team have individual coaches just to work on dribbling and ball skills, and then there's, basketball coaches, you've got your team, and then these separate individualized instructions. So you've made it an individual sport also, which has allowed the parents to get almost as crazy as the tennis parents.
Well, I'm listen. I don't like to be beat at. I don't like to be beat at anything. So as long as we're still,
you're still the lead, but it's now a game.
As long as I feel like we're more like international crazy. Like we're crazy everywhere.